Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to bring back one of our favorite guests, Johanna Alper. She blends 38 years of successful classical 5-element acupuncture practice and teaching with powerful accredited business building training. Her 5-element coaching programs are designed to assist holistic practitioners and therapists to attract and serve more clients and become successful. She is uniquely positioned to lead sensitive healers through a powerful, proven, and compassionate coaching process that creates breakthroughs in confidence, success, and prosperity. She is a certified Sacred Money Archetypes coach. So today we're going to really go deep into sacred money archetypes. So with that, Johanna, tell me more about this background of yours. You've been an acupuncturist and a teacher for decades. How did you get involved in coaching on sacred money archetypes?
I was loving my work, and I still do love practicing acupuncture. But as I was teaching in an acupuncture school here in Louisville, Colorado, by Boulder, I found that the acupuncture students who were excellent and they had graduated and they were unable to get their practices going. And I started to really wake up about how important it is for healers to be able to develop their businesses, because you can be really excellent at what you do, as we know, and that doesn't mean it necessarily translates into business. And I had been a successful acupuncturist and teacher for decades, but I didn't even realize my practice was a business. So I began studying coaching, and one of the important modules and the important areas that I studied and became certified in is this area called the Sacred Money Archetypes, which blends spiritual and personal growth with practical financial success. So it's both mindset, which is incredibly important, opening our mindset to more prosperity, but also there are a lot of specific tasks and right on the ground, on the earth, practical things to do to become more financially successful. Truly, I feel it's so important for healers and heart-inspired entrepreneurs, therapists, to be able to earn more money, to be able to go beyond their limiting beliefs about receiving prosperity and abundance, and be successful in attracting clients and money, and then helping create a more enlightened world, which we're all trying to move towards. So that's how I got involved with the Sacred Money Archetypes. And this is a system that I'm certified in from my coach, Kendall Summerhawk.
Kendall Summerhawk. I think I've heard that name when you mentioned it. To be honest, it's one of those names that you would recognize. So the Sacred Money Archetypes, I understand that there are 8 of them. Would you mind going through each one of the 8 and just explaining a little bit about each one, just so that we get a handle on what we're talking about overall?
Sure. I'm delighted to speak about them. And I'm not going to go into huge detail, but the basic understanding of the whole system is that we all have a primary archetype and secondary and tertiary. And when we understand our archetypal pattern, we're much more able to play to our strengths and gifts, and also be more, have more insight to our challenges and our blind spots. And then we can make more money and keep more money. So the idea is when you take a test, and you can access the test actually at my website, medicinebuddhacoaching.com. You go to medicinebuddhacoaching.com/SMA1 / so that's Sacred Money Archetypes 1. medicinebuddhacoaching.com SMA1 /SMA1. You can actually take the test and learn a lot about self. But I will give the overview now. So the first archetype is called the accumulator, who is actually your inner banker. And we think, oh, fantastic, bankers, they make a lot of money. I have that archetype. But it doesn't necessarily work that way if you do end up as the accumulator for your main archetype. Because though the accumulator is an inner banker, they're very good with money often. The sacred strengths are being very conscientious and trustworthy and disciplined. The gifts of the accumulator are they're able to save money easily and create financial independence and be very financially responsible. But the challenge for the accumulator, and as I said, all the archetypes have challenges, the accumulator is incredibly risk averse. And so as entrepreneurs, we often need to take some kind of calculated risk and invest in ourselves, invest in our businesses in order to move forward. And very often the accumulator has a great deal of difficulty investing. So though the accumulator is excellent with money, that may not necessarily help them as an entrepreneur. The alchemist archetype is your inner idealist. And they illuminate, this is like a shaman or a magician. They illuminate positive change. And the strengths, the sacred strengths of the alchemist are being very idealistic and transformational and daring. And the gifts are they create ideas, they champion others, and they see possibilities. So they have great insight and often a lot of magic. But the problem with the alchemist is often they focus too much on caring about social justice and leading a movement rather than making money. So they can be very idealistic, but often because they have a love-hate relationship with money and they see a lot of ways maybe in society that money has been used in unkind ways, they throw out baby with the bathwater. So the alchemist can also make money, not just the banker and all the other archetypes. All the archetypes can make money, but we need to know what our archetypal pattern is. It's almost like our money DNA. And when you understand your DNA, your own unique personal archetypal pattern, you're much more likely to be successful with money, to be financially successful. The next one is the celebrity, who's your inner big shot. They have a lot of visibility, and they illuminate making impact and having recognition. Very often introverted healers and therapists have a lot of aversion to being a celebrity. But in this sense, the celebrity is a wonderful leader. It doesn't have to be shallow, which we sometimes may think about celebrities. Not necessarily so. The celebrity has a lot of sacred strengths, like being magnetic and confident and radiant. It has gifts. The celebrity has gifts of leadership and helping others make a great impression and standing out in a crowd. So the celebrity is actually wonderful for building our leadership as long as it's done in a way that's authentic and not just trying to impress people, but is really, truly wanting to shine for oneself and to lead others. The next one is the connector, who's the inner relationship creator. And they illuminate faith and optimism. But the connector is like a child somewhat, really care about relationships, but have a very difficult time being practical with money. Often the connector would love it if somebody else took care of them and they didn't have to deal with money. But the connector also is capable of making money wonderfully. Their strengths are being very trusting and innocent and resilient. And their gifts are not overly stressing about money, having a lot of faith and optimism, and they create valuable relationships. And as we know, money is about flow. I mean, we talk about currency. Money in Chinese actually is a verb. It's about movement of energy and movement of currency. It's not a noun. So the connector has so much kind of innocence in a certain way. And they're so into relationships that when they're conscious about this, about money, they can also receive just because they promote so much value in relationships. And we know money comes from source, it comes from the universe, but it comes through other people. So the connector helps us make money because they're so excellent at creating relationship. The maverick is your inner rebel with a cause. And often mavericks, well, they illuminate that risk is essential, but it has to be done in a sane and calculated way. The maverick is probably the most risky of all the archetypes, but it can help in entrepreneurship. I'm sure a number of the incredible, wealthy and powerful entrepreneurs that we read about in the media, I bet many of them are mavericks. They took very big risks, but it paid for them, but they really were able to cash in. But the idea is to take risk in a very calculated way. And the sacred strengths of the maverick are being clever, flamboyant, and very charismatic. But their challenge is that they gamble often with financial security. So it has to be done really well. The nurturer illuminates caring and compassion. And the nurturer is the sacred strengths are being very given and devoted and reliable. It's kind of like an earth mother caring for others. The gifts are being very generous and giving amazing value and being very loyal. But sometimes there's the feeling we need to rescue others. The nurturer does. They abandon the self. And then they can sometimes become resentful or become a martyr. So the nurturer can make money very well, but maybe tends to give it away too much and overcare for others without caring for themselves in a powerful way. The romantic, the inner hedonist, who illuminates enjoying the pleasures of life. So the romantic can fall in the trap maybe of being flamboyant in their spending, but they have the sacred strength of really enjoying money in a way to have pleasure and abundance and not just be working all the time. We have a culture that really values work, and many of us can get caught in the trap of working too much. The romantic teaches us to be relaxed and be generous with others and enjoy the things that money can buy and believe that there always will be more. So they have a really, they're not uptight about money. And that can be really excellent in terms of being attractive, attracting money, as long as they do some work. That's the issue with the romantic. And the ruler is the inner empire builder who helps basically build an empire where everyone thrives. So the ruler isn't necessarily an authoritarian ruler. It can be really helping others by their powerful ruler leadership. And their strengths are being very courageous and visionary and determined. And they innovate new and exciting growth opportunities But they can always be chasing a money target and be too workaholic. Rulers can be. So it's really important to also relax and feel that there's enough money and have that side as well, to not over value making more constantly. So that's a basic rundown about all 8 archetypes. And as I mentioned, people can take the test at my website, medicinebuddhacoaching.com/SMA1, just the numeral 1, and find out more about your archetypes. And I also offer readings in this so people can go much deeper in understanding their whole profile and how the runner-up archetypes can also help.
So before we move on from this, can you just repeat just the name of each archetype again?
Sure.
Of the 8?
Sure. First one is the accumulator, the inner banker, and I'm showing these cards on video. They have 2 sides, and they talk about a lot of aspects of of each archetype. The second one is the alchemist, your inner idealist, the shaman, the magician with money, or the magician. The next one is the celebrity, who's your inner big shot, who is flamboyant and leads others in a radiant way. So the fourth one is the connector, who illuminates faith and optimism, the inner relationship creator. The maverick, your inner rebel with a cause, who illuminates that risk can be essential if it's done in a really sane, calculated, smart way. The nurturer, who's the inner sponsor, illuminates caring and compassion. The romantic, who illuminates giving the pleasures of life and, enjoying the pleasures of life. So understanding that it isn't just the accruing of money and financial wealth, but also enjoying it and helping others enjoy it and being generous. So that's the romantic. And the last one is the ruler, your inner empire builder, who creates an empire where everyone thrives. And they illuminate the desire to achieve and help themselves and others. But as I said, sometimes can get a little too caught up in overworking and not enjoying.
Well, I recognize myself in a couple of those, so it's kind of interesting. So why is it so important that healers, therapists, heart-inspired entrepreneurs, that they become conscious of money? Why is that so important?
Well, we, on the whole, have chosen careers out of compassion, our careers and our work out of compassion, out of really caring to make a difference in the world and making impact. But very often we have a shadow about realizing that we also need to be conscious about receiving money. As the author Sark has said, we often have PhDs in giving, but are in kindergarten in receiving. And without the practical, conscious connection to money, often we cannot have the relaxation and financial support that is important for us to both have a good life and help our family and community and make the impact that we're wanting to make. So getting over our shadow about thinking we should only be serving and get over that and step into our power about how important it is to also receive money. It's like a figure 8, giving and then receiving. Value should go both ways and not put ourselves lower. We have such an important role to play in helping heal the world at this time, and we deserve to be well compensated and to not be shy about receiving money. I feel it's very important because we have such an important role to play. We need to step up into more financial success.
I absolutely agree. And that when you were talking about the figure eight, it's that infinite flow of, that it has to keep flowing in order for everything to keep moving. So we're talking about sacred money archetypes. So how can money be sacred?
Well, often as healers, we think he's not sacred, unfortunately. And I feel that we live in a world today where money is as sacred as anything else. We've been programmed to serve and to give, and that many times in past lives, if you believe in these, we were in temples, nunneries, monasteries where we didn't handle money. It's a different world today. And it's a different understanding today about money. It's not if I have it, you don't, a more dualistic idea of money. It's much more an idea, a quantum idea, where I can have money and do well, and you can also. That it's not a win-lose game, but a win-win game. And as I thrive and you thrive, we all thrive and rise together. We've been programmed to be too self-sacrificing. And in fact, money is as sacred as anything else if we use it consciously and if we have consciousness about it. And I believe it's a whole sacred world, and not to just think money is bad just because there's that old shadow programming that in many cases we have been conditioned with.
I think you're right, because if you think about most of us can remember, being told different things, money doesn't grow on trees, there's starving children in Africa. I mean, just all of these things that planted the idea that the world was not abundant. And then, of course, it goes that if you don't think the world is abundant and you see that money is used for transactions, and sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, you might get the idea about that. You mentioned money DNA. Tell me what exactly that means, money DNA.
Okay. The idea in this Sacred Money Archetype System is that we actually came in with a particular contract and a particular personality and money style. And taking the Sacred Money Archetypes test can show you what your configuration of your unique archetypal pattern is. And when you understand that, as I mentioned, you're more able to play to your gifts and strengths instead of to your challenges. So money DNA is really a way it's kind of a nickname for talking about your sacred money archetypes pattern and understanding it and using the conscious gifts that come along with it. It's our money personality. Whether you believe in past lives or not, there's still particular style we have, and that's our money DNA.
Well, I know just from the fact that you were talking about those 8 different archetypes, and I, like I said, I could clearly recognize different people popped into my mind as you were going over that. Right. Now, you actually are coming out with a new book, a forthcoming book, The 5 Elements Advantage, Chinese Medicine Secrets for Holistic Business Success. So that's exciting that you're integrating your Chinese medicine secrets with holistic business success, because that's something that is, I think, kind of interesting and unique. Tell me more about the 5 elements that you're discussing in this book.
Well, all of nature everything in nature has the 5 elements or the 5 energies. Fire, which is in business our brand. Earth in business is our niche. Metal is actually the money or prosperous money flow in business. The water is work-life balance. And the wood is sales and marketing conversations that are done in sane and heartful ways so that we can go out into the marketplace with our shy, introverted selves and actually be able to prosper. So as I mentioned, the metal element has to do with money. And if we're not strong in that area, if we're embarrassed about money, if we have old limiting beliefs about not wanting to be too big for our britches and too prosperous, we actually dim our lights, we dim the power of our businesses. So it's important to have all of the elements of holistic business success, including the metal element area, which in this case, I work with people with the Sacred Money Archetypes and also another system called Money Breakthrough Method, which perhaps we can talk about at another conversation. But the metal element is very important, both for letting go of old limiting beliefs, which is our inner work, our mindset, as well as attaining money goals and being practical and actually having a powerful, grounded way of working with money. So it's not just a kind of psychological process, but it's actually being powerful with and clear with money and not just pushing it aside because it's the area in business that we are maybe either resentful of or just feel like we're not good enough. It's very important to have that area, to have this area.
I think that talking about money is actually a really important thing, and also paying attention to money, because often I notice that sometimes people, when they're not comfortable with something, they avoid it. And so that might mean that, let's say that you're afraid to ask for a certain amount of money or to look at your bank account and notice that it's dwindling, and to deal with some of these issues. Do you have any case studies that you've done with different people that you can show some practical success using some of your methods?
Truthfully, I do individual readings with people who are not in general in one of my coaching programs, and people have found that it was very illuminating and their consciousness was raised just with having readings with me. But in general, I work with people in all the areas of a healthy, holistic business. So clients who have doubled and tripled their client load, clients who've also tripled their return on investment in having being in an Ignite Your Business program with me. People have been incredibly successful and grounded about having success. And truthfully, the money was a piece of it, but it's hard to separate all of the pieces because the heart's brand, the fire is important, being clear about your niche, that's important, letting go of old money beliefs that are limiting and having less fear and more power in a relaxed way in money conversations. All of these have played into clients' tremendous success. So
that's good, because it's true. You can't just pull out one piece of a whole and say that is, the only thing that's important. And I think that's one of the things about your Chinese medicine secrets for holistic business success that's important, is that you are looking at the whole and all of these elements or parts of your life as they relate to being a successful person in general. So I had a question, because we're talking about business, we're talking about money, and you mentioned your Sacred Money Archetypes test. And can you use that test when you're trying to make a good fit for a team member for business?
Absolutely. Tammy, I mean, this is wonderful. If you are needing to hire somebody, for instance, to be doing your books, to be doing the financial part of your business, you maybe have a few different candidates that you've come to look at who would be good. It's terrific to have them take the Sacred Money Archetypes test so you can see. I mean, if they're for instance, a romantic, you may not want them to be dealing with your financial books, but maybe they would be great to be in sales because they're outgoing and they're connected to being able to have to do well in sales. Or if you're adding someone on the team for more like the HR department, human relations, then you want a nurturer. You want somebody who's really going to be nurturing others, and that could be excellent. So it's very important. I would, when I hire people to help me in my business, I have them take this test, and then they're much more likely to be excellent in fitting into the whole team.
It's interesting because there are, different, there's the DISC test, there's, all of these different things, but this is another angle to look at. And I think you're absolutely right. If someone's going to be handling your money or in charge of bringing in money, it sounds like that might be a really good test to have someone take to see where they fit in those 8 archetypes, so that you are choosing someone who's going, if you want somebody to be responsible for your money and not risk it, it depends on what your risk tolerance is. It's just like if you're, using, I could see where you could use this if you were a financial advisor.
Absolutely.
For risk tolerance with different people. And it would be kind of a fun way to find out someone's risk tolerance instead of just saying to them, well, what's your risk tolerance? Because some people, they may be somebody, they might be 65 and be really risk tolerant and throw it all in when they maybe need to have somebody advise them to be a little more cautious or something. So I could see the uses. So you mentioned again that people can go to your website. Can you give everyone that information about your Sacred Money Archetypes quiz so that they know exactly where to go again?
Yes, Medicine Buddha Coaching, that's 2 D's in Buddha, medicinebuddhacoaching.com/SMA1, just the regular numeral 1 /
Medicine Buddha
Coaching.com
/SMA1 numeral 1. Okay, perfect. So, Johanna, before I let you go, we've covered a lot of information.
We have, actually.
So before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would be delighted if people would like to take the test, and if they also would like a more extended reading, I offer those to help people go more deeply and let go of further limiting beliefs, because there's some information that you will receive when you take the test, but it's possible to go deeper, like seeing in the newspaper your astrology reading for the day. Let's say you're a Gemini, it's your astrology reading. You know that isn't the most deep illumination of your particular pattern. So I love doing readings for people. They're part of my group and premium programs, premium private programs, but also, as I mentioned, I do readings for people, and they're available on my website. You can see about them under the tab Work with Johanna. So
okay, so and that's again, it's medicinebuddhacoaching.com. Go check out the website. I've been there actually a couple times today.
Thank you.
Clicking through, learning all about you and everything. And everyone, just to let you know, I have another interview with Johanna that you might be interested in. So just look for her name in the shows, and you'll find another interview that we recently did that was more about the 5 sacred
elements
and the Chinese medicine and holistic business. And if you are someone in the healing profession, I highly recommend that you go take these quizzes and talk to Johanna, because there are not that many people who really understand the coaching business and that mindset that you have to literally overcome. And because you said it earlier in the conversation, you said, I was in business for many, many years and I didn't even know I had a business. Mm-hmm. And I find that's really true with people in the healing profession. They seem to be kind of ethereal. They're kind of floating around out there, very focused on their gifts. And I know when I work with them, I'm like a grounding force. Like I've had people describe it that they're the kite and I'm the person reeling in the string. Wow. And I thought that was so funny, but it's a compliment, because they're basically saying you're helping to ground me so that I'm not just like flying all over the place. Mm-hmm. So, again, everyone, we've been talking about sacred money archetypes, and you can go find out more at Johanna's website. And again, there's hot links in the show notes so that you can really handle that. So thank you so much for coming back.
Oh, Tammy, it's been such a pleasure again. I'm very grateful. I'm honored to be on your show again. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.